Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits Podcast. I'm Hillary Wilkinson. Whether you're starting your parenting journey with a newborn or looking to connect with your teen on technology, let's learn some new healthy screen habits together. So when I talk to parents about pornography, the conversation typically is incredibly gender biased. And that is the parents of boys immediately lean forward with full attention and concern, while often they're parents of girls who kind of like take a deep breath, relax, maybe even go to the bathroom. And that's why I invited my guest here today. Her name is Ashlee Ayre, and Ashlee is this incredibly brave young woman who struggled for 6 years with pornography and its effects. And today, she's here to tell us her pathway through pornography, plus what she has learned. So, parents, buckle up. What you're about to hear might be kind of hard to listen to, but it will be so worth it. Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits Podcast, my brave friend, Ashlee Ayre.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, Ashlee, one of the things that immediately caught my attention about your story, besides just being a female perspective to porn, is that it could be out of the pages of literally anyone's handbook. And I mean, can you give us a brief rundown on kind of how it all went down for you? Like, including if you can remember the age you were given access to porn and what age you entered the realm of social media, so to speak?
Mhm. Yeah, so my parents had the birds and bees talk with me. That was around age 11. And we had such a great childhood. And just everything was, I don't know, you could call it the perfect storm. We moved far away and we were homeschooled our whole lives, but we went right into school. And um, I was given a phone at age 11. A lot of the reason was because I had the label of the perfect child on me growing up. And so that was really hard to, keep up and make sure that no one knew that I messed up, which is ridiculous. But so pretty much because I had that label on me, my dad didn't really have to think about giving me a phone, he just handed it over. And so that with the phone, that came games, that came social media, that came just a whole new world I wasn't prepared for. And I was young. I think I might have turned 12 when I got my first smartphone. And it really, it really changed my life. And I started, I wasn't doing so well in school anymore, which is crazy because I was always like way ahead of my grade. Um, I had been playing the piano. I've been playing for about 13 years. Right now, I'm 20. Um, so I've been playing for a while, but I was like not doing so well in so many areas of my life. And so I was just really kind of getting nervous around age 14 when I noticed that I was getting so sucked into social media and I was looking at pornography every day. And that happened for about 6 years, like you said. It was crazy and I hated how it made me feel.
I'm so interested to hear more, but first we need to take a little break.
Hi, I'm Amy Adams from Healthy Screen Habits. I have the privilege of running book club, and we invite you to join us each Friday over on Instagram at Healthy Screen Habits, where we discuss books that will help us create healthy screen habits for a balanced life. We have a book that we do every couple months, and we hope you'll join us and enjoy and learn and grow with us.
I'm speaking with Ashlee Ayre, a young adult who's passionate about sharing her journey through the pathways of bad habits with pornography and what that led to. So, Ashlee, before the break, we were talking about the age you got on social media. And can you share like a few of the apps that were most problematic with porn exposure to you?
Mhm. The number one was definitely Instagram, and probably number two was Snapchat. Um, YouTube was a huge one. And then there was just there was some weird ones like Pinterest and
So
some of like,
I'm sorry.
sorry,
I
there's
think
so
of
many.
no. Oh, no, 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 no. I hear Pinterest and I think like craft projects. So I'm
Yep.
like, Pinterest? What? Like
Yeah.
I had no idea. And here I feel like I should know this, but I had no idea there was porn on Pinterest.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, it is just pictures on
yeah,
Pinterest. So it kind of
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But
So I guess it's just that sort of thing where it's like anything that has that user generated content that drives
mhm.
social media is
Yeah.
anytime you've got user generated content, you have to know that the users are going to generate content that you don't necessarily need all kids to be seeing.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
I do want to add one more so parents can be aware. Coloring apps. That was a huge one for me, which is super weird. So just like pretty much anything can be dangerous.
Yeah.
So
So coloring, what, like, would that expose you to, were those pictures or were they videos or?
they were pictures.
Okay.
So it was a big coloring app where anyone can add like pictures and then they would just like color it. So you could find other accounts that have uploaded pictures that you can color. And there was a lot of porn on there. So
Oh,
super weird.
yeah. It brings like, I'm sorry for laughing, but I like, we have all these adult coloring books and it's like, I didn't know it was that kind of adult coloring.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think it's really important that parents recognize, generally speaking, the size of the screen is kind of directly related to the exposure and the consumption of porn. That is,
Mhm.
the smaller the screen, the greater the exposure. A desktop screen is more limiting than a laptop, and that is going to be more limiting than a handheld device, which has to do with both the concealability and the accessibility. It totally makes sense when you think about it, but I just think a lot of people don't take that step. And did you find that to be true in your own life?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's so much easier to hide it. You just clear the tab, you put it in your pocket, and it's just different. You can have it with you. You can take it to the bathroom, but you can't really with a computer.
So I know a lot of folks who have big concerns about like, how will my child ever have friends if they don't have a social media account? Or, I mean, that's kind of the pushback that I've even gotten in my own circle. We don't give our children phones at this house. Now we use non-internet connective type phones. We wait until the summer between eighth and ninth grade. Uh, what would you say to parents who have that concern?
Mhm. It is a really big concern. I see that everywhere. I just want to bring everyone's attention to back when you guys were kids. Like no one had phones, and
Right.
that wasn't really an issue. Everyone just hung out in person. And I do want to mention that yes, it may be easier to, stay in contact with your friends, just send them a snap or whatever. But really the real friendships that you want isn't from sending snaps. Like that was a big thing was when I had Snapchat, it's not like I could just, I don't know, maybe I had 100 friends, but it's not like I would want to genuinely hang out with one of them, really. They weren't like
Mm,
close friends. And so I just think that a lot of friendships, when it's only, I don't know, based from having a phone, everyone just wants to fit in, but they're not really real friendships. And um, I think that that's kind of hard if parents think that that's the only way. That's kind of offensive to the kids if, here's a phone, now you can have friends. you know Kids should be
yeah.
getting out and making real friendships, going and playing night games. It's just so different. I think that a lot of parents and kids need to talk about that. And yeah.
I think you're so smart to bring that up. It's like if we have that conversation with our kids about this is not the only way to have friends. Maybe even sit down and define like what does like how does a friend make you feel? What do you do with friends and all of these things, and then kind of circle it around to and how does having another like on social media fit into all of that, or how does like a definition of true friendship. That's really really insightful. So there's also kind of this big, around porn, of course, because of the content, there's this super uncomfortable, like, how do we talk about it to our kids? And I often tell people there's appropriate ages and stages conversations. There's, along that, but some people feel like, oh, well, I've missed the boat. My son is 15, or or they put on the blinders. I don't want to know. I don't, how do you recommend that, or do you have any recommendations of how parents can bring up their concerns to their kids without like getting a pushback as far as curiosity and the exploration aspect, as well as like how would you recommend parents bring up their concerns to their kids?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you just said, where that person was concerned that they were too late. I don't think that's true. Like the kids are going to find that anyways, and you might as well be the one to teach it to them if you are too late and they've already, got involved in pornography or have been learning from friends. It's still not too late. And I think that would be very important. They can just start having like side by side conversations, maybe like really casual in the car. Just bring that up very carefully, and and not bring shame into it, and really just start seeing where their kids are, at, what they're thinking about this, and letting them talk, letting your kid talk. And I feel like if we can get this more like a normal, not saying it has to be like a really normal conversation, but like more frequent. And so the kid can come to you when they have questions, which they will, and just having it be a safe relationship. I think that's so important for parents to do.
I totally agree with you. The relationship, because no matter how many filters, how many monitoring services, etc., you install, honestly, it's that relationship and connection that's going to be your best tool. So can you pinpoint what may have been some things that were or continue to be the biggest contributors to helping you sort of like gain your peace or a sense of getting your life back to a place where you're comfortable now? I don't know, like, was there a point at which you hit sort of your rock bottom, so to speak, or like how did that all go for you?
So yeah, I think I was about 16. I was just with my best friend, and we just somehow got on that topic, and I just blurted it out. It was just finally a safe moment where I felt like I could open up, and it was amazing. I decided I would get help like the next week, and I reached out to a trusted adult, and I started making changes, and I decided that I was done with pornography. If I took that part out of my life and replaced it with so many other different things like service. And I actually took a long break from social media. I removed that off my phone. I did so many different things to really just change my whole life around and get into a better place.
What motivated you to do that? I mean, at 16, that's a pretty big move. So you had this conversation with your friend, which, I mean, kudos to you for having such a good friend that you could discuss something as tricky as that. But like, what brought you to that point of recognizing, of wanting the change, I guess I'm asking.
So really, when I first started viewing pornography, it was all just kind of fun. But then after a while, it just gets so exhausting. It gets so exhausting hiding it. and seeing how it's really affecting your life, and that you can just see it destroying your life in front of you. And I really did want to change. I think my heart was softened for a while. I was already getting ready to like flip notes to my mom because I was too scared to bring that up. And so I think I was just in a position. I don't know if that is very common for a lot of teenagers, but I just really did want to make a change in my life.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And when you approached your parents, were they supportive or how did that all go?
Okay. So I actually didn't tell them for like, I think I told them last year, which was like 2 years after I um, got over the pornography. So I talked to a religious leader. So I never really told my parents.
Okay.
But when I did, they were very kind. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you speak of coming from this very family based, background where
Yeah.
you had these supportive parents. So I was just wondering
Hmm.
how that went. So it's nice to hear that they supported you in your journey. But
Yeah.
I understand why it's scary to have to admit things.
Hmm. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it that you wish parents knew? What is the one thing that you wish even your parents knew at the time of when you were kind of going through all of this?
Um, there's so many ways I could take this, but I feel like such an important thing because, you look at me and you see such a good girl, and so many people have seen that too. And something that just keeps coming to my mind is that parents are trusting their kids too much. Um, with, it's not like they can't trust me. It's more like they can't trust the phone. And I wish that they would have been more aware of that. Um,
Mm.
and like my mom had so many gut feelings like along the whole way of me having a phone. She had so many gut feelings that something wasn't right. I was spending way too much time in my room at night. Also I have my phone in my room, which is a big no-no.
But
And
yeah, but that's one of those things we know that now. I
yeah.
feel like
Hmm.
Ashley, it like hurts my heart a little when you say, "Oh, you look at me and you see a good girl." You are a good person. I mean, it's you were given a tool that I mean, you were drinking from a fire hose when
Hmm.
you didn't even necessarily want a sip of water. So I mean, I
Yeah.
think I mean, the devices, the apps, nothing was designed to protect you from
Mm-mm.
that. That's what, so like all of that, like shame or anything that, I mean, I hope in the like depths of my heart that you can come to peace with that because it was not designed, we failed you. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
designers, the developers, I mean, we failed you. So
Hmm.
this is
Yeah.
why I work so hard to build awareness so that others don't have to have a path of pain.
Yeah. And you remind me of something, like what you're saying about apps and stuff. Like my parents did all that. They had the screen time. They had all the apps that would lock down my phone or not let me get apps. They did all of the protection, I guess, but that really doesn't help very much. Kids can just get around that so easily.
Oh yeah.
And like, so this is another thing is that even when they do put on those apps, it doesn't like filter through Instagram, like you open up Instagram, all of it comes with it,
When you
all
say
of,
right, when you say when they put on the apps, you mean when they put on the
yeah, yeah,
layers of parental control is what
there it
we're
is.
looking for. I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, exactly. My brain is moving in slow
Yeah.
motion today. But yeah, it's the when you put in the parental controls, social media is designed to not be affected by parental controls.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
that is not made explicit. in anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's not the default on all things technology is never to safety.
Mhm.
And we're having a massive course correction, hopefully, culturally.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I hope, I mean, and I think that the numbers speak for themselves. You
Right.
know, the mental health crisis that we're in, the levels of
Hmm.
suicide that we see families affected by.
Yeah, I was super young, so 11, and I didn't even know that this was really a thing. Like I didn't understand it really, or if the sex talk was before or after. But just I just remembered being so curious about it, and so I would do what I could. We didn't really watch movies. We didn't really spend time on the computer. Really nothing. So, of course, I go to my library in our house, and so I pull out the dictionaries, and I'm like, dang, like what can I do to get this? Because this is so interesting. Yeah. So I was very curious and I was smart. So I did whatever to get there.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, and if, I mean, you use the resources that you have to find out what
yeah.
you need to know, which for most kids, living during this period of time is going to be the internet,
Hmm.
which is,
Yeah.
not the safest place to go looking for answers. I would not,
Mm-mm.
I would not give my, a sex education talk by dropping my child off in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard and saying,
Mm-mm.
"Oh, go have a look around."
When I did make that big change and I started um, changing my life around, that wasn't just a one and done thing. It wasn't like I was able to just cold turkey everything. It's been a really long journey. And some big things that I've been doing are group therapy, which is amazing, having that support with women that are actually struggling with pornography as well. And just really finding deeper connection with people around me. Like my mom, she was amazing. And when I actually did reach out to her and tell her that I was struggling and that was a big thing in the past and it still is here a little bit, she was amazing and went on runs with me every day and we would talk and um, just finding different ways to connect with people has been a huge game changer. And since I have been more on the done side of that, like I'm not so stuck in the addiction, I have been able to speak on podcasts and that has been amazing for my recovery as well. So that is pretty much where I am today. And I just wish that every parent would know um, this so that their kids don't have to go through it. Like
Right.
it's really hard and scary as a kid and especially a girl. Just saying.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Right. But it sounds like that connection is the key,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
connection in the relationships. Yeah. So, Ashley, on every episode of the Healthy Screen Habits podcast, I ask a guest for a healthy screen habit that our listeners can put into practice in their own home. Do you have one?
I do. Yeah. So, as you can tell from my episode, I am really big about connection. I'm really big about taking breaks from social media. So, my screen habit would be maybe every month, take off the addicting apps off of your phone. And I'm talking to the parents. Do this with your child. And so, encourage them, do it with them, and just take a break for one day, you do a week, however long you want and just see how many fun things you can do together, projects you can accomplish. And just pay attention to how you feel when you take Snapchat off your phone or Instagram or, the games and
And talk about it.
and
Like,
talk
right.
about it with
I
your
mean,
kid.
it's one thing for
Yeah.
you to kind of have that mental inventory, but it's that whole living
Yeah.
out loud thing that builds
Yeah.
that connection. That's what you talked
Uh-huh.
about was the important part.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Really good.
that would help with the connection in the family. It's super important to disconnect from the constant use of screens. So,
Yeah. Disconnect to reconnect.
yep, love
Right.
that.
So, Ashley, if our listeners want to reach out to you or get more information, I will link your information in the show notes of this episode, which can be found on Healthy Screen Habits under the podcast section. I can't thank you enough. This has just been like delightful talking to you. And I wish you truly nothing but continued health and success in your journey.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being here. For more information, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Healthy Screen Habits. Make sure to visit our website, healthyscreenhabits.org, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode. It's free, it's fun, and you get a healthy new screen habit each week. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you giving us a quick rating. It really does help other people find us and spread the word of healthy screen habits. Or if you'd simply like to tell a friend, we'd love that too. I so appreciate you spending your time with me this week, and I look forward to learning more healthy habits together.